Okay, I'm going to call this December 12th, thank you, meeting of the Referendum Ad Hoc Committee to order. So, proof of notification, it was posted downstairs. Agenda item number 3, agenda approval. Someone make a motion to approve that?
I'll move to approve.
Okay, motion by Carol,
Second.
second by Severson. All those in favor of the agenda, please say aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Okay, we have an approved agenda. Public comments. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to comment to the committee this afternoon? Okay, hearing none. Next is approval of minutes. So I'm looking for a motion to approve minutes from the December 5th meeting of the committee.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Coppernoll.
I'll second, but with comment.
Yep, second by Carol. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to make a little correction. When I was describing the information on other referendums, it was mostly municipalities. There was only one county referendum in information I gathered. The minutes say counties, but it was actually just one county and multiple municipalities.
Okay, so maybe we'll make a motion to amend here to strike the word counties and replace it with municipalities and one county.
Yes,
Okay, so
I'll make that motion.
Okay, that's a motion by you. I'll go ahead and second it. Any further discussion on the minutes? Or on that, that's a motion to amend. So any further discussion on the motion to amend? Okay, all those in favor of the motion to amend, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Okay, that motion to amend carries. So now everyone in favor of the minutes, approving the minutes as amended, please say aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Okay, Mr. Severson, are you in favor? I just want to check since we've only got 4 people. I just need to make sure.
I'm fine. You'll hear
Okay.
no if I say no.
All right. Let's see. That takes us to agenda item number 6, correspondence from committees. So we had additional correspondence come from the Fair Recycling and Parks Committee, the Health and Human Services and Veterans Committee, Pine Valley and Child Support Committee, and the Public Works Committee. Any discussion on any of those pieces of information coming forward from those committees? I see Ms. Dowden is on, and I just wanted to let you know how much I appreciated seeing all that information and how excited I am to see your enthusiasm and the direction that you want to take things. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Mr. Langreich and I met earlier. We followed up with Mr. Rislow about the Pine Valley response, and we were able to come up with dollar amounts that gets Pine Valley to 50% of their mortgage payments by the year 2027. So those dollar amounts have now been incorporated into the figures that we're going to be looking at later. So thank you to, I don't think Mr. Rislow is on, but thank you to, if anyone watches this later, thank you for the work that Pine Valley has done to achieve that goal.
Sean, this is Bob. I did be able to get on to connect.
You're here, okay. Thanks for letting us know, Supervisor Frank. So we've got 5 out of 7 now.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Mr. Carroll.
the arrangement you guys figured out with Pine Valley, will some kind of document be put in our folder to kind of summarize that?
Mr. Langreich, I'm sure, can help us with that. Now, he has a spreadsheet going that, the spreadsheet that you were just sharing with me, Mr. Langreich, so I could get that survey. Steve wants to see it.
Not this
So-
minute, just as long as it's accessible at some point.
Yeah, it's there, and if you could just drop it into the folder, Mr. Langreich, that'd be great. That
Thanks.
way anyone can look at it. Okay, let's see. Is there anything else on correspondence from committees that anyone wishes to discuss? Okay, hearing none there. So agenda item number 7 is videos. Mr. Turk is not here, so we don't have any update on that. So we'll go ahead and keep moving on to agenda item number 8, county board survey. And let me give a brief little overview. Mr. Langreck and I were working on this, and it was things were moving very quickly. So just jump in if you've got any, especially if you see any errors, and I'll walk through this, and hopefully we're getting close. So I'll be looking for a motion to approve the attached survey to be issued to the county board tomorrow evening. So at our November 21st meeting, we approved these 3 questions. At the December 5th meeting, the committee gave feedback. I wanted to mention that question number 3 now, which is in attachment OAA, county board survey, has been built using the following pie chart. The orange, blue, and yellow portions of the pie chart went into question number 3. And in the data table on the next page, this is probably the best quick and dirty summary of what we're doing. So by 2027, we need approximately $4.6 million in reductions to the property tax levy to accomplish all of our goals. So committees made $1.2 million in voluntary reductions. So now that takes us down to about 3.4 million in a shortfall. We had about 400 grand come in as recommended for the referendum. We had 1.5 million not recommended for the referendum. So either a committee was silent on it, or they expressly said they don't want it on the referendum. And then we have another group of possible short-term borrowing reductions that we, I believe, discussed at our last meeting. So those last 3 lines add up to 3.4 million on the data table, and those are in the survey. So if you go to OAA survey, I'm just going to highlight the things that have changed. So if you go to page 1, and Mr. Kuy, I don't know, do you mind pulling that up just on the screen, just in case someone needs to follow along and they don't have the documents? So these were just uploaded right before the meeting, and they are now on the website as well. So anyone can go to the website and click on the packet and look at this draft survey if you don't have access to the county board supervisor iPads. So the big changes are.
John,
Yeah, go.
this
Yes,
is Jennifer. This is Jennifer Harper. I'm sorry to
Yes.
interrupt. Can you direct me
ahead.
to which page that we're looking at for each lines? Because
It'd
I
be-
know we talked about that earlier today, and so I haven't, obviously you just put it in, which is fine. Things are fluid, but I'm trying to look on this document where that might be.
Page 42 out of 45. Oh, good question. Mr. Kui's got it up on the screen too. But yes, if you're following along with your own packet that you've downloaded from the website, it's page 42. Oh, it's the last 4 pages of the packet.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for asking, because I'm sure other people are wondering too. Okay, so the chart is new. So last time we had a chart that showed $4.6 million in cuts by different committee or board in general. Now, this chart splits them up into 2 categories so we can see roughly what each committee is voluntarily reducing by 2027 on their own versus other reductions that have not been handled. So the sheriff's, I should say the Public Safety Committee is voluntarily reducing 179 grand from their budget by then, but there's about $1.5 million that remains. Health and Human Services is voluntarily reducing 226 grand, and $778,000 remains. And I should say HHS and veterans. The Public Works, which includes highway, MIS, and the courthouse, are voluntarily reducing $91,000, and $780,000 remains. Pine Valley is voluntarily reducing $445,000, their entire amount. The Finance and Personnel Committee, which includes administrative clerk, county board treasurer, are voluntarily reducing 100,000 and 283 grand remains. Land Conservation and Zoning, the Land and Zoning Committee, they were being asked to reduce by 50. They were being asked to reduce by $50,000. They have doubled that amount by, or a little more than doubled that amount. They're voluntarily reducing by $110,000. UW Richland, we probably need to take some action regarding this in the survey because it's still in the survey, but I color coded it differently in this chart. I believe it's fair to say that the UW Richland or the Education Committee is voluntarily reducing this amount because there were two pieces of action taken in the past couple hours. One was the group directed Corporation Counsel to develop a resolution and investigating the possibility of removing East Hall from the memorandum of agreement with the UW system to bring in either rental or sale income. And then the other thing is they passed they recommended a resolution to the county board tomorrow night, which takes a position that the county board, if the county board agrees with this, shall remove a portion of the farmland behind the campus to be developed for housing, with the property tax proceeds being used to maintain buildings on the campus. So I think between those two things, I think it's pretty safe to say that the 40 grand is covered, although we don't have exact dollar figures on that. And we can debate that and folks don't agree. Economic development. They were being asked to reduce by 37 grand through an exploration directive from the county board. The city has come forward with a proposal to completely take over the economic development position. So that would be a total reduction of 65 grand if the county board goes along with that. UW Extension was being asked to cut 37 grand. They would like the entire amount to be placed. The Education Committee would like the entire amount to be placed on the referendum. Simons was being asked to reduce by 36 grand, or at least explore the possibility that might involve that. And we've heard no response back from Simons with our follow-up questions yet. The Fair Recycling and Parks Committee was being asked to reduce 15 grand from the fair budget, and they have responded that they can accomplish that voluntarily. So that chart is meant to be in the survey so everyone can see that. The only thing I don't like about this chart, and I didn't know how to fix it as I was scrambling to do it this afternoon, is in land conservation and zoning and economic development. There's a little blue piece under the orange pieces that make it look like those are other reductions. I think that it should all be orange. I just couldn't figure out how to change the color. So if you'll accept that as something that I can work on and it will be in the survey tomorrow night, just assume that I would do that. I just need someone smarter than me with Excel to help me with that. So then on the second page, this is where the survey questions start. So that first page is just the background. Second page, first, we would like to ask you to rate your comfort level with shifting portions of the above annual expenses from the operating levy to the short-term borrowing levy. We filled in dollar amounts under number 2. So we didn't know the dollar amount for court-ordered placements for the Health and Human Services Department, but now that's been filled in at $400,000. Same with the administration department's budget for property and liability insurance. We didn't know that amount, but now we know, or I didn't know that amount rather, probably, this is a better way to say it. Now that we know that amount is 460 grand. We just need a total amount for the administration department's budget though, Mr. Langrick. So if you can rough one out, we could add that in there.
It will be, of course, premised that there's multiple budgets kind of underneath the umbrella. That's kind of the number you're looking for, because this doesn't fall exactly in the same account as the administration's operation budget. But that's your intention, so right? You're trying to gather how much total financial capacity kind of is overseen by our office.
I think so. If that's, to me, it might, I kind of like to see the amount out of the total amount so I can see what exactly would be pulled out. But I don't know how if other people agree with that. You want to be able to see that total dollar amount?
Wouldn't hurt. That way we have a better, oh, sorry, Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
It wouldn't hurt. That way we're kind of seeing how far we're sticking our neck out, you know? So if we can, even if it's just a rough number. Okay.
Anyone opposed to that? Okay, keep going then. So then nothing changed in that chart below. We'd be asking people on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being the least comfortable and 10 being the most comfortable, how do you feel about borrowing for the following expenses? So in highway, for asphalt and equipment, enter a rating between 1 and 10. Health and Human Services, court order replacements, enter your rating. Administration, property and liability insurance, enter your rating. So on page 3, this is the second question. We'd like to ask you to tell us what % increase in property taxes you are comfortable with. The figure that changed here is in the first line below the heading. By 2027, we are projecting approximately $3.4 million in expenses that could be funded with a property tax increase. We didn't know that figure before, but now we know it. It's taking the voluntary stuff away from the total cuts needed to be made. Then the other change that I made is you all gave the feedback last time that the question needs to be simplified. So I just removed the bottom 2 rows. So now it just says, what total annual % change to the property tax levy are you comfortable with? And now maybe we need to add a % in the answer, so people are filling out a %, so it's abundantly clear. We could add a big % if we want. And then on the last page, third, we'd like to ask you to prioritize the following services. Services with top rankings will likely be funded with surpluses and additional short-term borrowing, should the county board be comfortable with additional short-term borrowing. Services with middle rankings will likely be recommended for placement on an operating levy referendum. Services with bottom rankings will likely be permanently cut. Please place an X in the third column for services you believe should be prioritized. You can mark up to 10 X's. Leave all other rows blank. So we have Mr. Langrek pulled off this miracle. He got us down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. We have 20 lines here. And we can debate that. If you want more, we can debate that. But 2 things I wanted to point out that I do think need to be changed, and just looking for your all's feedback. And we got the sheriff here, so I'm glad we do. So that 6th from the bottom line, which says sheriff's office reductions to multiple operations, $118,000. That was reduction in inmate meal costs, gas, and some other things. It did not include training because you all wanted that left in. So I talked to Mr. Langrek beforehand. That's a voluntary reduction, and that was put in here by mistake. And so I just want to confirm with everyone that that's a mistake and that should be pulled out of the survey.
So, and I guess to comment on that further, like I'm hesitant with the reduction in fuel, because just knowing what we've already went over for fuel this year, with things being as they have been. But I think the money, we could use the money if we had it. But we also felt that we could probably eat that cut if needed. So, where there's where a few of us have been discussing this as of lately, and everybody had a different opinion on that 118,000. I think the original intent was that we were offering it up as a cut. So.
And on that chart on page 1, that's, let's see, it says $179,000. What was the other piece of that?
So I guess I'm gonna venture to guess that being from the Public Safety Committee, that was the cuts that other public safety departments had contributed as well.
Thank you. Clerk
Yes.
of court, DA.
Yep.
Thank you.
Clerk of
Yes.
court, DA, emergency government.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. So it's your $118,000 from your department plus those reductions from the other departments.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so is anyone opposed to taking off the $118,000 from the survey?
Sean, this is Jennifer Harper. Can I just clarify something?
Of course, yes, please.
Sure. So, so we're public safety, district attorney's office is in public safety, and we completely, my office, district attorney's office, completely covered what was asked of us, and actually even more because I got shockingly great news from the state, which never happens, although it was quite timely here. So uh, so we just talked about how public safety has a whole number of offices that are sort of clumped together. What we're talking about now, though, we're not talking about the clumping together, but each one of our departments separately.
Correct. Yeah, so Sheriff Porter was answering my question because the chart that we were looking at, so if you go to page, you're following along in your PDF, it'd be page 42 to that
Yeah.
chart at the bottom of page 42. Those were the identified reductions to the property tax levy by 27 in the Public Safety Committee. You can see your department listed below there.
Sure.
And so yep.
Go ahead.
Well, the amounts, so Mr. Langrek and I were working on this today. I think the amount you had originally proposed was $10,000 per year. So in 27, we'd have $10,000 in additional revenue from your department, DA Harper.
Right.
And then
Right,
there
and
was an additional 12 grand that we added to that. And we got a total of 22 grand. Now I can't remember because too many things have happened in the past 4 hours. What was that?
Sure, and that's
Okay.
not exactly accurate. One is the minimum of $10,000 due to restructuring, and as health insurance goes up, that amount will go up, and then another $22,000 because I now have a staff member who is not accepting health insurance at all. So we're up at beyond $32,000 a year starting next year.
So you think that amount should be, well, you think that amount should be higher? That's what you're saying?
Yeah, it should be
Okay.
it at a minimum, and I don't want to talk about it going up in the future, but as of right now and the foreseeable future, ours is an increase of revenue of at least $10,000 and a decrease in costs for my office of $22,000. And that's all based on actual budgeted 2022 numbers.
So that should be the total should be $32,000 then instead of 22,000. Is that correct?
That is correct, sir.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Langrek will incorporate that and we'll update the numbers. That'll be a very minor shift though. And I just want to say too, there possibly, I know it's not minor to a lot of people, but in the grand scheme of our $4.6 million,
Sure.
that's what I meant by minor.
Sure.
So there will be other changes that we will notice over the next week or two, and people will catch other things. But I think the thing to keep in mind is this is a survey going to the county board to get them to rank their priorities based on numbers that are believed to be relatively close. But things are always changing. But thank you for that information.
Sure. I just wanted to clarify as part of the survey, which I think is an excellent idea, that my office wasn't clumped in here somewhere in that $118,000 or anywhere else, since we are clumped together in another graphic, but we're not. And you've answered my questions, and excellent. I will stop talking.
Okay, no, that's okay. Thank you. It's a good question. Okay, so so I think the changes we would be potentially making are removing sheriff's office, $118,000. And I think the other decision we could make this committee is we could remove the $40,000 for the UW campus as well. So any discussion on the survey from the committee?
Mr. Chair. So these figures that add up to 3.4 million less than 118 grand, I'm trying to understand how they relate to the pie up above and what number are we shooting for, I guess is my question.
You mean the pie chart on the cover sheet? Mr. Chair?
Yes, yeah, sorry.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I did that just for you all. I don't know if we need to show that to the county board. I just did it for you all so you could see, you know, we got $4.6 million to deal with, but we don't have to worry about the 1.2 million in voluntary reductions. We'll set that aside. So it's just the orange, blue, and yellow portions of the chart that are in this survey. So I just wanted to be really clear that the survey includes reductions recommended for the referendum that only totaled 400 grand. It includes reductions not recommended for the referendum. So some committees said, no, we do not want it on the referendum, but it's still in the survey. And then it also includes possible short-term borrowing reductions of 1.5 million. That's also in the survey, so we can see how those rank. Say that the county board doesn't like the idea of more short-term borrowing. Well, then we're going to have to potentially make some of those reductions, but we need to know where those reductions fit into the rest of it. So that's how the pie chart relates to the survey.
Okay, so let's say there's a scenario where the board decides they're okay with all of the short-term borrowing additions. So that takes that off the table and lowers our figure that we're still trying to get to. And that's what I was trying to understand, what that number would be in terms of how much of this stuff is at risk in the last question.
Oh, I see. Well, so let's play out that scenario. If you go to the data table on the right below that pie chart in the cover sheet.
Yep.
So what you're saying is you want to take out that second to bottom row where it says possible short-term borrowing reductions of 1.5 million.
Right.
So then we would be left with approximately 1.9 million.
Right.
But we don't know the answer to that question, but you're just playing out the what
That's
if.
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
We'd be looking for 1.9 million. Okay, let's just maybe go around to see if the committee members are comfortable with the survey or not, if they have any feedback on it. So Mayor Todd, are you okay going next?
Yeah, actually, it's pretty simple for me. I like it. I like it's pretty simple and straightforward, and it's time to do this. There's nothing in there that I don't think belongs. I'm good with the way it's proposed or presented.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Frank?
I'm good with it. I can't see all of it, but what I've been hearing sounds great, and I like the simplification of the question that we talked about.
Okay, Mr. Severson?
I'm all right with it. I just didn't have very much time to review a lot of that stuff, but it seems to be all right. And then just to let you know, like I got to go off now because I got to go to the city parks meeting tonight.
Okay, well,
That's
thanks
at
for.
5 o'clock, and I got to travel, so I'm going to be out of service too, so I can't call.
Okay, well, thanks for attending the first part. Appreciate it. We've still got a quorum. Yep, we still got a quorum, so we're going to take action here. Okay, so I think what we're looking for is a motion. Were you going to say something, Mr. Carroll?
I'm just going to make sure I'm clear that this survey is not the definitive selection. This is input to our process, and so obviously it's important, but it may not give us the complete information we need. I just want to make, in other words, if that's the case, then I'm fine with the survey as it is.
Yeah, that's the case. Nothing is binding here now. But it's going to be informational for us to make a decision, right, so we can recommend something to finance and personnel. Right. Now, okay, I'm glad you brought that up though, because we are on the county board agenda. I think it's agenda item number 20 under reports. I don't have that exact agenda item pulled up here. We should go look and see what it's called. because how we approach the county board, we should make sure at least the four of us are on the same page about that before we make this motion. So the agenda says, oh, it's moved down to number 22 now. It's the ad hoc referendum committee report is how it's worded. So one question I have is, would you all be okay if we use the public education report as a, I think we gotta somehow give a little context before we can't just hand out the survey and say, good luck. You know, we maybe need a little bit of context. And so I'm wondering if you all would be okay if we had a brief presentation that pulled out the most important pieces of the report and reference people to the report, and then say we have this survey that goes along with it.
Mr. Chair.
Yep.
I'm not sure we've ever actually done that with the full board yet, so it would make sense. Just for folks that haven't had a chance to see the latest versions, at least.
Mr. Frank, do you think we should do that too? If you're speaking, you're muted. We can't hear you, but. Are you there, Mr. Frank? We better hang tight till we get our.
Yes, I am here.
Oh,
Sorry
okay,
about that.
okay.
Yeah, it was too many buttons.
That's okay. Go ahead.
So yeah, you definitely have to present this to the county board and explain where we are, and I think that falls easily under the referendum committee report. Yeah, definitely time to explain it, and so they know where we are, what we're doing, where we've come.
Okay, so most likely what I would do is, instead of having the whole report in front of everyone on the screen, I'd probably just pull pieces of the report out into a PowerPoint. And then if we could just have the report in the folder too, I can send that to the clerk. So we could have the report and the survey in the folder for everybody, the electronic versions. And then, and Mayor Todd, I assume you're okay with that?
I was just going to say I am.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't ask you.
It's okay. I am.
Okay, thank you.
Do we have a timeline for the report to get returned?
So at the top of the survey, it says, please return this survey to Administrative Assistant Cheryl Dole by the end of the day on Thursday, December 15th.
Great, thank you.
And then we have paper copies in the room here. Mayor Todd and Supervisor Carroll have paper copies. One question I have is, do we want these printed out on color because of that first page or not? We don't have a color printer. Does the county have a color printer at all? We do? Okay. So I'm assuming we'll want to do these printed paper in color.
I would prefer that.
So we'll have it in the folders also. So, you know, someone can see it there, but also each county board member will get one of these printed in color.
If somebody gave me this to consider something as important as all of this is, I'd just looking at this graphic, I'd much rather that was in color and easier to read, honestly.
Okay. So we're gonna have a presentation to go with it. We'll have printed paper copies. Is there anything else I'm not thinking of before we vote on this? Mr. Langer?
Did I miss motion language? Otherwise, I've got
We
motion.
didn't do it yet.
Okay, so I've got motion by a person to adopt the survey and present to the Richland County Board for feedback on preferences with amendments to include the sheriff's, UW campus, and DA items as discussed, seconded by so-and-so. That's
Okay.
the direction we're going?
I think so. So now there are 18 rows now, if we take those 2 rows out. So are we still comfortable with people getting a mark 10 out of 18 rows?
I'm good
Supervisor
with
Frank,
that.
you're good with it? Okay. Okay, I'm not hearing anyone disagree with that. I'm good with it too.
Yeah.
Okay. And then
This is Jennifer
couple,
Harper. Can I
yes,
just,
DA Harper, go
I,
ahead.
yeah, I just didn't hear what the language was of the motion. So can
Yeah,
I
we
just get
haven't
it?
made, oh yeah,
Oh,
Mr. Langreck kind of read off his idea, but let's just go back to the cover sheet. So this would be on page 40 of your packet, DA Harper.
thank you.
Trying to do the math quick here. It's a motion to approve the attached survey to be issued to the county board. That's what we're looking for. And then, like Mr. Langreck read off, with the two changes being striking the sheriff's office $118,000 line and the UW campus $40,000 line from the third question, which is on page 45 of the packet.
Great,
So
thank you for the clarification. I appreciate it.
Of course. Okay, so if someone wants to make that motion.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, motion by Carroll,
Second.
second by Coppernall. Any further discussion on the motion? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 In favor, Mr. Frank?
Yes, aye.
Okay, I'm in favor too, so that motion passes. Anything else on the county board survey? Okay, then we'll go on to future agenda items. Mr. Carroll, future agenda items.
Not at this time, but back to last time. So how are the surveys going to be accumulated, and who's going to do that?
Mr. Langreck, can Ms. Dole do it since we have her name on the survey? Okay, Ms. Dole will do it.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Frank, any future agenda items?
I do not at this time.
Okay, Mayor Coppernall.
I just want to make sure, I know Mr. Turk couldn't be here, but that we stay on the videos. and obviously the results that come back from the survey, right? Right?
We
Other
will
than-
have that on the agenda. You can
Yeah.
bet on it. We're
Other
all
than-
going to be eager to look at those.
I mean, those are the two things that have my attention the most right now. Is Dave coming in here at all today, or is he not coming at all?
He couldn't make it till after 5, but I think we're going to adjourn before then.
Yeah, it kind of looks like it. Okay. Then I'm just going to mention that I'll be speaking with him again. I did after our last meeting, but I'll do it again because I don't know why the videos aren't up. Okay.
Well, we'll make sure it's on the next agenda, and I think we're going to be meeting relatively soon. So let's go ahead and go to that. Let's go to adjournment, and let's look for the next time when we're going to be meeting here. It's a little challenging because we've only got 4 of us to set the meeting, so we really have to make sure that all 4 of us can at least make it. So I think, let's see here. Ms. Dole is going to need a little time to crunch the results. We anticipated that week of the 19th through the 23rd we'd be meeting, but we didn't want to meet late in the week. Say on Friday the 23rd, that's out. So does anyone want to throw out a date? I think Monday might be a little too soon. I think we're going to need a little more time. So maybe Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday, 20th, 21st, or 22nd.
I would say Tuesday would work for me.
Mr. Chair, I'm out Tuesday and Wednesday.
Okay. What about Thursday?
I'm good.
Mayor Coppernall?
I can do Thursday.
Mr. Frank?
I can do Thursday.
Okay. All right. So time-wise, I'm wondering, since Mr. Turk had to work till 5 today, I'm wondering if perhaps 5 o'clock might be a little better. We might have a little more of a chance there. So I'm thinking Thursday, the 22nd at 5 p.m.
I won't be available. I don't think Jason is either.
Do you know if Barb will be available?
Yes.
You don't know. Okay. All right. And will you all be available earlier in the day, MIS?
I'm out that day.
You're out totally. And what about
I don't.
Jason? Okay, let's just hang tight.
Five 30, you said?
5.
5.
But maybe we do 4 also if we can't get anything. We can't get anything after 5.
Barb said she can do it.
She could do it. Okay. So looking for a motion to adjourn to Thursday, December. Oh, and Mr. Langreich, is anyone else meeting in this room on Thursday, the 22nd at 5?
Not that I'm tracking. That'll be the afternoon before
Okay.
a holiday weekend.
Okay. All right. We'll close out the courthouse, right? Okay. So looking for a motion to adjourn to Thursday, December 22nd at 5 p.m.
So moved.
Motion by Carroll,
Second.
second by Coppernall. All those in favor say aye.
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 All right. We're adjourned. Thanks to the 3 of you and everyone else who came today. Appreciate it.